Hi, my name is Cassie, and this is my story of hope. When I was in 4th grade, I was bullied. I started getting bullied pretty hard, and people were really mean, and I didn't really understand why. So I came to find out through a lot of testing and doctor's visits that I have a social skills and learning disability named PDD-NOS, which is pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. At the time, they didn't really know much about it. Now they're starting to know a little bit more, and there's more resources. But at the time, the only thing I really could do was reach out for help socially. And so I kind of did that. I started going to classes, and I just felt really alone in my life. I didn't feel like I had any anchor. I didn't feel like I had a home. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And I came across, my mom came across this school named Pathway, and it was a school that was designed for students with learning disabilities to learn God's gifts for them. After a few days of 5th grade, I decided to switch into this new school, and it completely changed my life. I went in as a questioning Christian, and I came out of it as a little girl of faith, I would say. I gave my life to Jesus that year, and I started really trying to see the areas that he was calling me into. I also discovered one of my passions, which is singing, and I have carried that with me throughout my entire adult life up until this point. So at this point, I still wasn't going to church. I'd given my life to Jesus, but I was still hesitant to go to the church. I think a lot of that was fear coming from my social, what I felt was social inadequacy. I felt socially inadequate, that I wouldn't be able to make friends, that I wouldn't be able to have the courage and the confidence to not hide in the corner. And so I stayed away, but I decided to go to this secular school. So I moved from this Christian school to this secular school. There were a lot of activities that they participated in that made me feel unwelcome as a Christian. But in 8th grade, I decided, you know what, I don't have that Christian foundation that I used to at the school, so I'm going to start going back to church. And so in 8th grade, I went to church again, and then from there, just incredible things started happening. I started serving on the leadership team, and was starting to kind of find my place. Around 11th grade, I was serving on the leadership team, greeting people every Sunday, but I went to this mega church, and it just felt really impersonal. I wanted a more personal encounter with God and a church community. And I had a friend who was going to South Coast Christian at the time, and she told me that she would love for me to come to the youth program that happens on Wednesday nights. I decided the first Sunday that I went to South Coast Christian that this was the home church for me, because on my way to that church, on the way to church that Sunday, I was thinking about how I didn't really feel like I belonged in the house of God, and I didn't really feel like a child of God. And the first song that they played that Sunday was No Longer Slaves, and one of the lines in that is, I'm no longer a slave to fear, I am a child of God. And when I heard that, I just broke down into tears, because I felt like God had heard me. And I turned to my boyfriend, who was sitting next to me, and I said, this is my new church. This is where I want to be. I just felt the Lord's peace on it with every step that I took towards it. I asked if there was a way that I could serve on the worship team, and it has been the greatest joy. It's probably my favorite thing ever to serve on Wednesdays at youth. As both a student leader and a worship leader, and getting to really have those personal connections with the students, and getting to learn about their lives and the things that they're going through, and helping them when they feel alone, to know that they are loved and they are supported, and that we are all here with a purpose. If I could tell somebody who was being bullied or in a hopeless situation one thing, it would be, know that God hears everything. And it may feel like you're in a waiting period in your life, and it may even feel like a rut, and it may feel like there's no responses, but God hears all. I had a friend tell me once this year, actually, and it was probably the most incredible piece of advice that she's ever given me, or that I've ever received. And it was that we should be so lost in Jesus that the only way other people can get to you is through him. And that just really spoke to my heart and encouraged me as I'm branching out and trying to make new friends daily, and trying to overcome my disability and overcome the challenges that I've been faced with. Just know that God has a story for you, and he has a purpose for you, and he doesn't want you to be alone. He wants you to find who you are through him. And that's something I feel like I waited a little too long to do, and I'm so much better off now that I have.